Fantastic. At this time, could everybody please stand? Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is Monday, March 13th. This is the Parks Commission regular meeting. Today is Monday, March 13th. This is the Parks Commission regular meeting. At this time, may we have a roll call?
Chair Mike Wrench.
Present.
Vice Chair Karen Malecki. Present. Lance. Alderwoman Sherry Hanneman.
Here.
Commissioner Remington.
Here.
Alderwoman Sherry Hanneman.
Here.
Commissioner Remington.
Here.
Commissioner Proborski.
Here.
Commissioner Stanley.
Here.
Non-voting ex officio Michelle Rente.
Here.
Kevin Schluter.
That's it.
Let's see, Marion X.
Here.
Dale Borchert.
Here. At this time, we'd like to open it up for if there are any citizens who'd like to make a comment.
Make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Yes. David Works, 7965 Ledgy lives adjacent to the park over here for over 25 years and enjoyed it. We go there every day. Franklin's been blessed with many good parks throughout the area, but we frequent this one because we live right here. Past couple of years, we're having a lot of playing pickleball. And, you know, you come home from work and you can't get a court because they're reserved all the time. And very tough, and we feel it's unfair. We'd like to, we'd like the committee to consider the community. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other citizens like to make a comment? We will close the comment portion. We'll move ahead to the approval of the minute.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. And then for the sake of the people in attendance today, I'm going to jump around in the agenda a little bit. So with item 4, letter D, because I think this is going to work with some of the interested parties. Letter D is Little League and or Adult Recreation League reservations of sports facilities for baseball, pickleball, and other groups. So I believe looking in the crowd, the rec department, recognize I think Sam from the past. We have 2 other gentlemen that I'm going to guess are here for some type of pickleball function. So part of the challenge we have as a board, as we heard from this gentleman, was open play or space for residents to enjoy the facility. So I think as a board, we should probably at some point set a policy as far as who can reserve what and who cannot. I believe currently there is no fee to reserve tennis courts or pickleball courts. You just have to put in a request. And I think what we're starting to get into is everybody's just going ahead to try to reserve it so that way they have slots to try to play. And pickleball it's encompassed all of our meetings that we've had for probably the last 3 or 4 years.
It goes beyond that.
It does. It's a growing, booming sport. We have limited space. Dale just drew up here everything that we have that we can use. But I think this creates a big challenge, especially in the community for public access versus private groups looking to use things. I mean, that we have the rec department looking to reserve things Monday through Thursday at Legend number 2, which the name should be changing soon, for the summer for Monday through Thursday evenings. We have a request to reserve at Pleasant View Park or Lions Legends 2 on Wednesday evenings. And then we have a request to reserve Lions Legend 2 Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 to noon. I believe we also have one or two more requests that were submitted too late to join this meeting. In my person getting into this as a board, Lions Legend 1, I believe, is scheduled to be repaved or resurfaced at some point, hopefully this year.
Hopefully.
Pleasant View is scheduled to be resurfaced, fix the construction there at some point this year.
Yeah, that'll happen this spring.
You-
So let me back
Sure.
up. The new court will be redone because it issues we had with construction. The other one would be with how the bids come out. We're going to try to resurface.
Sure. Awesome. That leaves Ken Wendell and Legend 2 as the only ones that have pickleball.
Pleasant View also does, the tennis.
Okay.
Does that all make sense to everybody or not? Explain it.
Yes.
Yes? Right, yes? Right, blue courts are pickleball courts, red courts are tennis courts. So in Legend, we have 3 tennis courts, that's it. Legend 2, there's 1 tennis court with 4 pickleball courts right on that court. You have to bring 4 portable nets. 4 pickleball courts right on that court. You have to bring 4 portable nets to the others. The old tennis court was converted into 4 dedicated pickleball courts. If there's any questions as I'm going, let me know right away. Pleasant View is there's 2 tennis courts, and pickleball is straight on 2 courts on this court, but you need to bring 2 portable nets to play in those courts. There's another tennis court with pickleball striped right in the middle, so you can use pickleball striped right in the middle, so you can use the tennis net, even though it's 2 inches high for pickleball. That's how it's meant. And then here are the new 4 dedicated pickleball courts. Ken Wendell is the same as Pleasant View, but without. Ken Wendell is the same as Pleasant View, but without these pickleball courts. So you got 2 tennis courts with pickleball courts striped on those. You have to bring 2 portable nets. Workman has 1 tennis court. Does that all make sense? Does that all make sense?
Thank you.
Sure.
So these are all the city park facilities. Of course, someone did let me know that there is now pickleball at the otherwise, I'm not familiar with the county.
That's in the mornings during the winter, once out comes outdoor, they don't offer it anymore.
So, like is
Sure.
Yeah, go.
Okay, I don't want to preempt. And I've been on the record before, my feelings on this one. I do believe that we have, although maybe it's not a formal memorandum of understanding, I do feel we have somewhat of an obligation to support their set programs and provide the facilities towards that. What I struggle with is it seems, as you mentioned, we don't have a set policy for pickleball. We seem to have a set policy for the baseball diamonds. And I don't like the idea of having a different policy for each type of facility. I think we have to be consistent in what we're and in how we're administering them, and I think we have to be equitable for the entire community. So I don't know if it's a matter of we want to apply the baseball diamond reservation system to pick outside of rec department play. But so that times would be reserved, each week on a first come, first served basis. So that's my thought on that.
Honor the rec department's request, but I also feel that we do need to leave some places open to public at all times. Whether that's certain parks or if it's one court out of currently at Legend 2 that is always public play. I think so that there's public access, especially this summer. I have two that are under construction. Hopefully they're early part when the asphalt plant's open, but we're relying on contractors. Workload. I could tell you it may, but it might not. That's not going to make everybody happy, but kind of the thought that I have. I don't know what anybody else feels.
I like Sherry's, that we honor the rec department. We've been working with the rec department for 6-7 years now, for 6-7 years now with pickleball, working on getting the extra court striped. And are you aware there's a program that you can sign up for?
Meaning what?
There is a rec program. You said you weren't able to get on the courts. You weren't able to get on the courts. Through the rec department, there is a group that.
I'm aware of the organized activities.
Uh-huh.
My wife and myself, that's one of the things we do together.
Okay,
As a married couple, we like to go out and play pickleball together.
right. You didn't want to join?
My wife.
Okay, all right, okay. No,
I appreciate the offer of that.
yeah, and I think because we're so close to the season, April, that there are the courts at Pleasant View that are hopeful to be open by July. Would be able to get on that until that time. My recommendation was that they would use the other courts that are striped or on the nights that the rec department doesn't have the courts reserved. A policy, but I think at this point it's at the 9th hour, and I don't think it would be fair to block the rec program this summer.
If I may, I don't think it's fair to the general public either.
Where? Oh, okay. Then you have been able to get on them?
Yeah, we try to get in there before the courts get reserved.
Right,
You're working and you come home and
right,
hurry up, get home, and change your clothes real quick and run out,
yeah.
get down the path and get down there and hurry away. That's the way it usually goes, but it would be nice maybe if it didn't start till 6 or something like that. It would help a lot of subdivision. There's the ways you can compromise on these.
I'm trying to bring a compromise in that there are other courts are permanent that the city can use. There are courts in the city right now that people can use.
Go ahead, Mary.
Isn't the motion you made last meeting going to solve much of this?
Look,
You said you wanted Lions Legend tennis courts to 12 permanent pickleball courts. And then convert the pickleball courts at Barb
back to
Vernon
tennis
Berg.
courts.
back to tennis courts.
Yes,
So that would give us,
but we,
and then convert the pickleball courts at Barb
back to
Vernon
tennis
Berg.
courts.
back to tennis courts.
Yes,
So that would give us,
but we don't know
12
when
courts.
that's going to happen.
At some point in 2020.
tennis courts.
Yes,
So that would give us,
but we don't know
12
when
courts.
that's going to happen.
At some point in 2020.
well, if it gets before the council soon, can't it?
It didn't have to go to council.
Oh, it didn't.
At some point in 2020.
Well, if it gets before the council soon, can't it?
It didn't have to go to council.
Oh, it didn't.
No.
Okay, then what does it take?
It's just a matter of construction when they start, because the chairman was saying, you know, it could be scheduled to be done in April, but given labor shortages or material shortages, whatever, they might not get it done in July. We don't.
I will tell you, we're working our best to get the asphalt paid.
You know, I have no idea what the odds would be, but with the possibility of a new mayor and a new just putting reality out there. I have no idea.
Anybody else on the board have thoughts?
So does the rec department, do they use totally all the courts then? Are you reserving every single court
Yeah,
that's
there's-
there? Is there a possibility that there could be like 2 courts left for the general public to use while you're
I
doing
mean,
it?
I'm saying for the rest of the community, the rec department is the community own typical things, so I really express that thing. We're max at 72 people per night. And we get like 15. It's just,
That's for this current season, right? So we haven't opened up for the summer outdoor
Yeah.
pickleball yet, right? Social, and then there's the semi-competitive, right? And you can play into the social club. So it's not that you know, if I had the same experience where I came with the coffee group and we came on in the morning and it was like, oh, they're all taken, you know? So I've had that too, but I do have to disagree that it's not by that, you know, convenient that your neighborhood is close to it, but you have to look at the whole city, because I live on the very south part of Franklin, and I could go to any one of those parks, right? I have to go to any one of those parks in order to play pickleball. So I go to the one that has the pickleball court, you know? I go to the one that has the pickleball court, you know? So I understand you've been there 25 years, but the park's pickleball courts.
Well, if you want to make that point, one of the convincing elements while we build our house in that subdivision, we're going to put a nice park there. They just had tennis
Sure.
courts at the time.
It makes
and we
it more
played-
attractive.
We played tennis off the park there. They just had tennis
Sure.
courts at the time.
makes
and we
it more
played-
attractive.
We played tennis also.
But-
It was nice, but that was one of the elements.
Of course, yeah, and but you're not, you know, the park's not built for your neighborhood. It's built for the whole city, right? So we have other pickleball courts, and it's built for the whole city, right? So we have other pickleball courts in other areas, and then I guess the plan is for when for the construction of the Lions Legend one, because we had talked about lining them for both, dual,
So the idea was we have $200,000.
for both. Dual.
So the idea was we have $200,000 in our budget this year.
Mhm.
Basically, we're going to, and it's a Band-Aid, but it's a really nice Band-Aid. We're going to put this fabric down that'll keep the reflective cracks from coming up, and we'll put 1.5 inches of asphalt on top. Plus some other little things that we need, courses we can done this year. We just don't have it out to bid yet. Like I said, we're trying to get our road program out to bid, to get that figured out where the asphalt prices are, then we'll bid out this project.
With the popularity increasing, will Lions One be one of the first ones you think that they'll work on, just because of the popularity? And
So I'll put that on this committee. So we don't want to take them all down at once,
right,
right? So if you want to give me a detailed order of how you want these constructed, I mean, ideally, asphalt price is cheap this year, knock on wood, and I can do all that. We can get everything to which ones you'd like to see out of commission first, put back into service first. We can put that in the order. So I have no dog in the fight, if you will, as far as priority of which one happens which time. I'd like to do them all if I can.
Band-Aid.
should be a long time. I mean, it's not like, you know, total tear up and replace and compact and everything, which, you know, would have 20, 30 years. This would, I would guess, at least 15 years before it looked. You will have cracks again. I mean, but all those little cracks should not come up to the surface and reflect it. So for example, if you've been out to the Jack Workman part, it's absolutely atrocious. Absolutely, you can't play anything. We're going to try to grind that out and do the best we can. That port will probably have some issues in the next 5+ years. It should get us some. Now, like Pleasant View, the underlying problem is still there. There's still moisture in the ground that's causing heat and that sort of thing. But if it stays relatively smooth, you should. You know, it's going to 10, 15, 20 years maybe on the best case.
Will the ice rink on top of it cause damage?
I think the ice rink. My major concern with an ice rink is people walking around with skates, chipping up the surface.
Oh, yeah.
My concern. So, as far as the weight of the ice, I don't think I'm too worried about that. I'm more worried about, you know, just protecting the surface. And we actually have some other ideas. We might, you know, just protecting the surface. And we actually have some other ideas. We might just create a rest area at a park and call that our ice rink. Best. This one that we had last year, it was the best. It really helped us because we didn't have a lot of really hard freezes. And we had a pretty mild, a lot of really hard freezes. And we had a pretty mild winter, so that jinxed us. But because it was so thick, we just never really, I think 11 days, I think I heard that it was actually open this year. So not very much, because you had to have a long deep freeze for a long period of time. But we go maybe just to have a long deep freeze for a long period of time. But we go maybe just a 4 or 6 inch deep pressed area somewhere. Maybe we can do that.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember what the motion was as far as I don't remember what the motion was as far as the 3 courts of Legend 1 pickleball courts, but just consider that there's no parking lot there, so the on-street parking or use the library or the city hall parking. So I don't know if those are too far away, but this consideration, consider that, and if those are too far away, but this consideration, consider that, and also fence around Legend 1 tennis courts is not so good anymore. Probably need. It's probably the original fence, and I don't know. Is a problem.
And fencing's a good thing. Kevin and I have talked about it. I mean, do it right. We really should take down a lot of these fences, redo them. I'm not looking to completely redo everything. So we're trying to, again, the Band-Aid, nice Band-Aid. Again, the Band-Aid, nice Band-Aid.
If we're talking about fair and equitable from the other arrangements for the baseball fields, we had talked about splitting the game. So that could potentially double up the amount of football league. If you did it from 5:30 to 6:30 and then 6:30. I know that's not ideal, but it's a way of increasing the capability of having more citizens sign up, and it would be more in line with ball field rental. That I know that's not ideal. Together in Franklin, they're separate. So this is actually my first time meeting our rec department representative here. So typically they have priority over parks because they're charging a fee for citizens to sign up for certain classes. And the pickleball, right? Right. So they have an obligation once they get all these members signed up and committed with their funds to fulfill giving them pickleball courts. And I know that we had an issue on the first time indoor at the new middle school, and that we had to figure out a way to split up the group into 2 rounds, which wasn't ideal.
Actually, they refunded half the.
Right, and then we also got our funds back for it. But it's a huge sport. I mean, it's 135% increase this past year, you know, and it's making news, and everybody wants it. There's talk of private organization in Franklin, big more hip version of it to the scene as well, and perhaps with entertainment as well. So there's a lot of people out here that want to play pickleball.
And I do think once, this summer anyway, I think once Pleasant View's done, we'll be able to accommodate. I think we need a policy before we change what we have. Because we're just too close to.
I agree that it will probably not make April, which is the step for the rec department, and they really
2
need
weeks.
a solid plan going in. They're going to collect funds from people who are going to groups. First come, first serve for the sign up, and then we have a wait list, right? So,
But Franklin residents take precedent over out of Franklin.
so my husband and I signed up, and we play into the teams, so you compete with other folks. The social is not as, obviously aggressive as these, so you compete with other folks. The social is not as, obviously aggressive as the semi-competitive. We also have the Learn to Play Pickleball night as well through the rec department, where new people can come and try it out. And we've had quite a lot of new people come out. And come and try it out. And we've had quite a lot of new people come out.
What percent is capped for Franklin?
I would say, like the Creek situation, but Franklin gets a week before everybody else.
So
And it usually fills up.
90% is Franklin.
Are our fees high enough? Because it seems like we have quite a few interested people in our program.
It's a low dollars.
I'll finance some of the programs we're talking about here.
We could, but then I think what we go for is not here to make a ton of money in your department. Equity, you want to make it.
I know, I was in charge of the program. Just an idea.
It's $2.
$2 a time. And that is something to consider, that the rec could consider. I don't think you want to make it so people can't play, it gets to too high of a charge, but they could up the fee if they wanted $5-10 a season.
And it is all volunteers for season as well. So that'll be putting another responsibility, put up the time or charge the collection. That could
Go ahead, Glenn.
So first of all, I like the way you think, charge you more, but
Well, it seems like it would be beneficial.
because we've had this practice fields and such, the problem we get into is if people pay a lot for it and they start expecting service, and I wish I could tell you we had the staff to take care of it, we just don't. It's all hands on deck to do the things I need to do, and I'm lucky if I can get the grass mowed. It would be nice if I could increase, love the way you're thinking, but I probably wouldn't be right to do that. Yep.
Yes, sir.
I make a comment. Patrick Harris, I submitted one of the requests for reservation at the Pleasant request. I think it's similar in terms of kind of wanting to be able to guarantee, right, you would have a spot to play during the week. Just a comment in terms of what I had heard here, if I may. I think, from my perspective and friends of mine that play with us, I think, some type of reservation system, maybe like the ball fields, for us, very well. Just in terms of, we're not always guaranteed week to week exactly how many folks we do have show up when we're doing things. But having some way of guaranteeing that week that we did have a court available to us for the time we were before, I think would be beneficial. To be honest, we have not had a lot of problems getting official. To be honest, we have not had a lot of problems getting on and being able to play when we wanted to for the last 2 summers. So our request really wasn't. It was more, I think, a reaction to as things get more popular and increase, we're wondering if there will be more people, and so we just like to be able to have that space. So, I think there will be more people, and so we just like to be able to have that space. So, I think from my perspective and our perspective, I think something like that would be beneficial. Again, we don't have quite the challenge. It doesn't sound like you have it at Lions Legends 2. In terms of play right now at Pleasant View. Legends 2. In terms of play right now at Pleasant View, something like that I think would be welcomed, just so we could, just on a rotating week basis spot. And if we didn't that week, okay, we don't, we can make some more. Okay, we don't, we can make some more. Thank you.
Taking a look at this, as a board, we should probably look to set a policy, change the reservation system, mimic that, rather the other athletic fields that we have.
Is that, I agree, but is that with the rec department getting first? Having because there's the program?
Yes.
Okay.
What are the dates for the pickleball?
Third, April 17th-ish. That goes through the summer, then we have another fall one that goes in. That goes through the summer, then we have another fall one that goes in middle, late October. April to October.
We have the sign up. What is the sign up?
Oh, April 4th.
April 4th, and then isn't there a second sign up? I feel like we did it twice.
This one I'm going to do all at once.
Oh,
I
okay.
think for people who did forget to sign up, they sign up once. Forget to do the summer. So I was going to do it all at once. Like you know. The 5 to 6:30 section, like breaking it up, is play. You get an hour and a half time, and then maybe lower the number a little bit. 60 per time. 20. 70.
It's a funny group because we get real fanatical about it, and I'll play for 3 hours straight. You know what I mean? So, so we did do it, but I don't think that we'll get a policy written approved by or from this committee.
But next
So
year,
there might be a consideration to keep it split like it was last year with a spring sign up and a summer sign up, and at least that gives us to establish potentially.
And if I may, Leah, thank you for coming in. I do like the idea of splitting up the times like that, and maybe you could sign up for both time sets for the people who are fanatical and want to open it up to more people is a great idea, especially in the interim when we don't know how many courts we're going to have for the duration of the play season. What I'm wondering is, once we have all of these courts serviceable and in place, all of the league play to be at where it currently is, or are you looking in the future to sort of mix it up a little bit, like between Legend 1, when that would all become pickleball courts, maybe 2 nights and then 2 nights at Pleasant View, or are you looking to just have?
I am personally looking to keep it in one home. That buying and that whole thing and sharing equipment.
And volunteers and
2 separate spots. I love letting 2 to home. The open play is wide open.
I would recommend one is rec department with Legend 1 public play at all times.
wait, say that again.
Rec department has stated like Legend 2. I would recommend Legend 1 open for public play, or open for public play, or if they wanted to switch, we would go the other way.
I think that's. Are you talking
Well,
once they're
Leah can speak for rec department.
We just need 8 courts.
Yeah.
That would be fair.
They're going to make those courts tennis courts.
Yeah, we're going to lose courts at Legend 2.
Make those courts tennis courts.
Yeah, we're going to lose courts at Legend 2.
Yeah.
But you still have enough there at 2.
We need 8.
We'll have 12.
Ideally.
So we can do 4 open to the public at all times. Rec department can have the 8.
But we're gonna lose 4 at 2.
They would move from 2 to 1
It
once
would-
1 is done.
Yeah. 1 is gonna be striped for 12, I believe.
Right.
Talked about rec department is requesting 8. That would be more open for public play
Gotcha.
at all times.
Gotcha.
And then Legend and Wendell. But then we would have courts open, available to the public any and all times. I think that would solve a lot of the challenges that we seem to be coming across.
So in the short term, until 1 is striped, 2 would be home for the rec department. Other 2 parks would be kind of open.
Legend 1 can be redone in a timely manner this year. I would think that would be the priority, one that would be the biggest majority of the times. Go from there. So, yes.
Knowles Park on one side of the road. I mean, is there a good reason for that?
Fire trucks, maybe.
You're talking up here across from the library, between the library and the, or you mean,
Like,
or you mean,
like,
talking Legend?
no, I'm talking right across.
Well, we have City Hall parking. Talking Legend.
No, I'm talking right across.
Well, we have City Hall parking.
No, that was annoying. No, that was annoying.
I don't know, it gets tight when people start parking on both sides. And then talking off the top of my head, probably another reason I would suggest against parking on the side with the playground equipment is because kids running in and out. So I know when I drive, you're always watching for kids running across. You had cars to block kids crossing the road, running to and from.
The library parking lot's a beautiful parking lot. We're talking about physical activity we're going to. Can't walk that short distance from the nice parking lot like that to the.
Like when you go to the gym, you have to park up front.
The parking lot is pretty full.
Yep.
Lots of times.
Night it is.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
lot of
but then you got
there.
the city hall parking. I mean, anybody who wants to play, is not gonna worry about walking.
I mean, there are several times, are there not, that's kind of distant.
All right. I think we briefly discussed the policy. We should probably when it's completely done and open.
Can I just summarize what I'm hearing is that the current leaning of the commission is that a policy be adopted to allow for short-term reservations in the rec department dedicated facility. Is that correct?
I believe.
Okay. Correct?
I believe.
Okay. In which case, I want to have a discussion with the clerk's department about the reservation practice. They are currently, there's not a way to publish that calendar,
Sure.
which is a bit of an issue for people who want to check if a court or facility is reserved. Who want to check if a court or facility is reserved. So I'd like to be able to update. They have some feedback about that, and I want to give you their thoughts about how a reservation practice.
Makes sense.
Could we also come back at the April meeting with the guidelines for the other reservations? Well, just to kind of compare and contrast what that might look like.
Concept which is, I would pay $20 for 3 hours of football, you know?
Wasn't trying to find a way around the system, but.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. I know it's not ideal, and some people, but we do have a group that come right after work and leave around dinner time, you know?
Is there any talk of having any signage tell the public requirement for this 5 to summertime? They come out there 4:30, they're like, oh.
Typically, they play out their last game and then vacate the courts. That's how.
But Dale, didn't
Is there a sign holder for it similar to like you guys have for reservation at shelters on the tennis court?
Or like a sandwich board.
Yeah.
You could, like clip onto like the fencing.
Right.
Something, what do you guys use
It's
for
called
your?
direct software.
So is that something, that the rec department could
I was just thinking that.
put that all in and then
Use the
people
fees
could
for
check
that.
it going to the rec department site?
Like put on our, well, it's in our book. But on the
Right, but
website.
yeah, like, could you not do a co-op with us? And say, you guys could take the reservations and
The
enter
city
them?
would?
Yeah,
I would, if you guys want to, and
because you
we're
have
open
the
to it.
program, we don't have the program, right?
It's a pain in the butt, I will say that, like, we'll hand that over to you guys. I've talked about it, if it's having a problem, city or whatever, then you can have it open play all along, but I think it adds a lot of value to have it as a organized program. And you're gonna have the one guy that goes and work all week, all night.
Oh, and I don't think that that's what we're getting at.
No,
It's-
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 But you could, if you think about it. I know that you do co-op programs with other
Yeah.
cities and stuff. It'd be kind of the same thing,
think-
only you would kind of be managing the pickleball stuff because
For
we
the-
aren't, we don't have the capabilities of doing that.
For non-rec, reserve the courts.
Oh.
But during non-rec times.
Right.
I'm like, we are?
Right. Well, no, but yes, like to enter, like to be able to have
Yeah,
someone
we could
could
put something on
sign
there.
up on that.
Like even in the guide.
Do you
there's
guys see
open
what I'm
play,
saying?
Like open play at this time of day.
Right.
But are you,
I think the challenge that everybody's coming across is there's no separate parks department in Franklin. There's
Right.
a rec department and DPW does all the maintenance.
Right.
If you want to reserve a baseball field, come to the clerk's office. There seems to be way too many cooks in the kitchen. I think things would just be a lot simpler if there was one place that took care of everything.
Right.
But that's,
So that then there could be a schedule where someone could go look at it and say, oh, it's open, I can go play now.
but are you asking her to take the reservation and the fees?
We'd have to all discuss that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
go ahead, Dale.
For the,
Asking her to take the reservation and the fees?
We'd have to all discuss that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dale.
for the, for the ice rink, I made a frame where I put, it's got space enough to put an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in it.
Go ahead, Dale.
For the, for the ice rink, I made a frame where I put, it's got space enough to put an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in it. And I got the rules for the ice rink on it, and I hung it on the fence. Would that work for something like this? Would that meet the need?
I think it would, and you put it by,
It's got space enough to put an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in it. And I got the rules for the ice rink on it, and I hung it on the fence. Would that work for something like this? Would that meet the need?
I think it would, and you put it by the entry gate, and people would know if they choose to read it, what the reservations are, but at least it's posted for the public to see it. I think that'd be great. Put it by the entry gate, and people would know if they choose to read it, what the reservations are, but at least it's posted for the public to see it. I think that'd be great. We got some stuff to add for April. So I guess if we're okay with this, let's move to Leah out of here. School district, community education, and rec department's request to reserve the pickleball courts at Lion Legend 2, located at 8717 West Drexel for spring, summer, and fall 23 programs. Requested dates Monday through Thursdays, 5 to 8. April 17th through October 20th, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11:30. Anybody have any issues or concerns?
Split into two time.
I think if we did that, we might have to here. Our guide is the third process. So I mean, it's possible. But
With the starting time, you push back just a little minutes after.
yeah, that's fine. Maybe we'll change that. I mean, live. You know.
If you're okay with that,
Yeah,
I'm open to that.
We will run out of light.
We will. Especially in the fall, it'll be dark.
Well, use those floors.
Like in there.
8 is what we have. Wouldn't do 5:30, or what about
Well, we have to
5:30?
compromise. Prime real estate right now, I think.
Maybe a fair cost.
Gotta get through this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the way I look at it. We have somebody who would like to approve that.
Well, I'll make a motion to amend this to 5:30. A motion to, are we good with sticking with 9 to 11? Like, wow. And stuff. So keep the Saturday, same time, change to 5:30 to 8, and make a motion that we approve for the rec department, to the reservation, all courts at times for spring, fall of the 20.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You guys have it. You guys have it. We'll go to letter B. Franklin School District Community Education and Recreation Department request to reserve the tennis courts at Ken Wendell Park, located way on the west side, Monday through Friday. Fridays are rain dates. 8:30 to 12:30 for youth Friday. Fridays are rain dates. 8:30 to 12:30 for youth tennis, June 12th through June 22nd, July 10th through July 20th, and July 31st to August 10th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? Move to letter C. Request by City of Franklin resident Patrick Harris to reserve 2 pickleball courts at either Pleasant View or Lions Legend 2 on Wednesday evenings from 5 to 8, April 26th through October 20th. Since Lions Legend 2 is going to be used by the rec department, that opens Pleasant View. Is that okay?
Yes.
So you'll be playing on the tennis courts till they finish?
The 4 are not available right now. Right? So it would just be the 2 tennis courts, or just the one with the 2 pickleball courts?
Just the one with the 2 pickleball courts.
I think that we might want to, if we did go with that, there is that neighborhood who'd like to play after work. And they could move over to the other court. That's the one with the court, the net that's a little bit too high, right?
Which would still leave Ken Wendell. Open.
Correct.
Yes.
In the afternoon.
And
So
so
oh, sorry, Susan.
I was going to just ask Dale if they would put a sign up that they have those courts reserved there also. They have those courts reserved there also, on those tennis courts.
Yeah, I can make as many needed.
And my comment was going to be, as soon as we get those pickleball courts fixed, get those pickleball courts fixed. Hopefully that'll be sooner than later, because that is kind of on the contractor, isn't it, Glenn? That's not necessarily our,
Correct.
that's, hopefully we're high on their priority list to get that done, and that'll take that pressure off of Pleasant. Take that pressure off of Pleasant.
I'd like to ask a question about how your group is organized. Currently, we have the rec department reserving it, and I know that you can sign up as a citizen, public use and publicly funded property, public use and publicly funded property, and we don't have a policy in place right now for private use. So I'm just curious, how does your group form?
It's a private group, et cetera, of friends and gentlemen that it's a private group, et cetera, of friends and gentlemen that and frankly, I said, we don't go out of the group. But it is not something nearly as organized, of course, public is.
Sure. Private citizen, and a weekly.
Kind of numbers.
12. Yeah.
Like a bunco league.
No fees to be involved, right? Yeah.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to amend the request, say the pickleball courts on the one tennis court from 5:30 to 8 during.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. We'll go to letter D. Request by Sam Krisky. I have to say it wrong every year, dude. Sorry. Franklin resident to reserve the pickleball courts at Lions Legend 2 for a group of seniors pickleball Monday, Wednesday, Friday, April 15th to October 15th from 8 to noon.
I'll move to approve.
I'd just like to say one thing. So if the Lions 1 gets the Lions 1 gets the repavement done, that you'll switch because these will be gone. They'll be tennis courts.
And your group is just the WhatsApp, right? People.
Well, they use WhatsApp to gather when the time comes. It's usually 5 days a week, and we go to the sports complex on the rainy days. They open up for us, but we average about 30, 40 people. I got a group of about 120 people. Hopefully they don't all show up at once.
I played into your league one time. We
Yeah.
came for our coffee group. They were all taken up by you and let us all play in. So
It's
I know that you
it's
open
open
it up.
it's open organized, what I call it. Anybody, it's mostly senior. Join us as long as they abide by the rules. Depending on the number we have in the group, I change the rules as to where, well, the regular rule for pickleball is you've got to win by 2. And that can extend the game maybe 15, 20 minutes sometimes. So what I do is I go to the first to 11, the rotation, and it works out fine.
Can I ask John a question? If people call and ask, like, when can I play pickleball in the morning? A lot.
Oh, yeah, I get it all
So
the
you
time.
just send them to the sports complex.
Yeah. Where they can play too, and they send them. Like I said, it's open, wide open.
Where can we find that WhatsApp?
It's a
They-
pickleball
in the
WhatsApp.
It's WhatsApp, WhatsApp Franklin. WhatsApp Franklin Pickleball.
trouble if I use my Google to look for it, or is it?
No.
I'm not even on it. It gets too intense. I'm not even on that app. I stick to my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and always got a good turnout. Just like we're at the sports complex, and Tuesday and Thursdays, they play pickleball. They're the same people, but there's not somebody that takes over and organizes it. And they do have some problems with people hogging the courts and what have you. And this is what I do when my group is.
You did say 5 days a week, but you're talking about your two at the sports complex.
Yeah, they're not open on Friday. I would have Monday, Wednesday, Friday there, which I did in the past. I've been there like 6 years. I've been doing this for about 12 years. But I have Monday in the past where I got the permit for the outdoor. It was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Do we have a motion?
I would like to approve that once those Lions 2 are gone, you'll move over
Yeah.
to Lions.
Or we can suspend play or whatever it takes.
Second.
Who was that? Who was that? Mary's.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
The key to will just be retired for 20 years. Like during the day.
Yeah.
You don't have a job to go to.
Working on my husband.
We'll
Can I just mention one thing, as long as all the pickleball people are here? Last year, someone put like a tarp up and roped it up, and that was unacceptable, like for shade. So just don't modify the courts at all. You have some kind of request, come to the DPW first. Can't have modifications like that without.
When I was there that day, I told them to take it down because there was an objection to it.
Yeah.
We took it down right away.
jump to letter F. City of Franklin Rec Department, Franklin Public Schools Recreation Amenities Planning.
So included in your packet was the information that was provided by the Franklin Rec Department's website. And I know Alderman Hanman wanted to note that there's the March 22nd public input session. So since we have a representative from the Rec Department, I'm hoping you can expand a little on the planning process, but the information that I have in the packets, surprise! And I think this conversation, it'll be helpful to have this part of the rest of their discussion this evening is going to be about the city's own comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, which is a plan that encompasses what the population of the city and their anticipated recreation needs are. It's in need of a redraft, but we have been working in that context because some of the funding for parks comes based on that project. So I apologize that I did not have a chance to review any of this material that the rec department has, but if you wouldn't mind.
This is very much a release of grounds situation. I'm kind of just can sort of talk about it, but nothing's been approved. Nothing's been situation. I'm kind of just can sort of talk about it, but nothing's been approved. Nothing's been done until the board meeting.
Okay. When is the board meeting?
The 22nd.
Okay.
Which I will be at. Hopefully they approve the vote to go to architect, I'll bid out. But that isn't even the vote to go to architect, I'll bid out. But that isn't even. They did put like floor plan they used to put a potential building across from the middle school by the east here, kind of backed by the garden where that floral place used to be. I think they bought that land. They bought that land. But probably where our home base would be, have rooms for out of the elementary schools, safety thing, there, mornings and evenings. I think they had soccer fields back there, program. Other than that, things been. What else? I don't have questions, but I'll try to answer.
Do you know if those soccer fields would be lighted?
They want them to be funding thing. funding thing. It out.
So is this planning discussion just for that one site?
Yes. It's used district-wide and I have tried to put pickleball courts.
I'd love if they just get tennis courts for the tennis team.
Yeah.
That would be a high school, yeah.
That's a big deal.
That is. That would be a later field house situation. That would be a later field house situation.
Will there be a public comment period, I'm guessing?
And they had surveys go out to every resident, I believe. For the newsletters, it's going to link to share their comments in it. That's going to link to share their comments in it. That's kind of what the process is now the past 2 weeks. So they've been taking feedback from people who want. I don't have access to that.
Franklin Public School website, automatic pop-up. That is, to all.
Who is the health department moving there too?
No, they were thinking of doing a clinic. This I know very little about.
Okay.
I think that stemmed from the sick call for this pandemic with that. There might be a good idea to have like a nurse clinic there, so
Mostly I think for, I think it's for Franklin Public Schools staff.
right, for the staff
Yeah.
now.
Or if they need to go get a quick script or something, go get checked out.
Financial guy.
It's a great way for them not to go into this season.
It'll save a lot.
Anybody have any other questions on it? Thank you. Come anytime.
You should come by out more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever talk about stuff, I just want to share if you have stuff city-wise, I would love to put that in our guide. Relationship we should be better at, like we run things, love to. Our book goes to everyone, just letters, anything on the website.
You did not know there was an ice rink, correct?
I did not know there was we could have definitely put that out there.
Yeah.
Put our parks and trails.
It's only open for 11 days.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, that is a really great idea.
Yeah.
Please.
She doesn't, but maybe we could get it emailed over to her and it could be a part of like hiking opportunities in the city of Franklin.
We'll go to letter E while we're here. City of Franklin Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, Parkland Acquisition Study, MPs and other parks policies.
Okay, so I'm going to give you very much the cliff notes of this, but there was a request to discuss the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to quickly canvass kind of the documents that this commission works with and the context for your work. So I think I have shared this organizational chart with the commission in the past, and I'm bringing it up again this evening. So you are a commission, a body of the Common Council, with an aldermanic representative, and then you yourself as appointees. And then, as has been discussed in a couple different contexts, there's 3 different departments that impact the work that is done in the parks. So the clerk's office administers the permitting process. So if someone makes a request for a park pavilion, for currently a baseball diamond, pickleball facility, those permits go through the clerk's office. There's not a representative of that office that attends these commission meetings, but I do try to communicate with them to the extent possible about the processes that are happening here. The Parks Department is part of the Department of Public Works, so that's Dale is or a majority of it. But the staff and the maintenance work that's done in the park facilities is through the Department of Public Works, and then the planning department, and specifically the planning manager, which I am not, I'm a representative of that department, is responsible for the administration of the commission, which means distribution of your agendas and other noticing requirements, keeping the record of the commission, and then I am the planner that is responsible for the interpretation and implementation of the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So implementation of the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So to create a little context for that document, I've provided it to this commission in the past, and I didn't want to put the whole thing in your packet again, but it is a citywide policy that, in tandem with what's called the comprehensive master plan, designates land and land for parks and trails facilities under Franklin's parks system. And so it's meant to work in concert with, that larger land use document that considers where everything is supposed to be. So broadly, the uses that it thinks about are where's housing going to go, where commercial is going to go, that kind of thing. And then the corp is specific. It does talk a little bit about the specific types of parks, and there's a formula. There's a couple of things that are important about this. So there's a formula for the types of park facilities. There's in your packet I provided the DNR's requirements for what's supposed to be a recreation plan, because it's also a funding mechanism. So once you adopt a master plan and a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, you can then implement impact fees, and you also become eligible for state funding for park facilities, for natural resources, that kind of thing. So there's criteria about how that gets evaluated. It's based on population and your anticipated population growth, which is gets figured out during the comprehensive master planning process. And then these are the kinds of parks that are recommended, and Franklin has a plan to fulfill these needs, or has. So the regional park has recently purchased the Southwest Park. It's a significant accomplishment of this commission to make that recommendation. But then there's also other smaller level parks with different service areas. So this is just a slide about those definitions. This is the level of eligibility that they have based on how much of a need there is for that type of facility. So this is the percentage of impact fees that can be applied to the construction of the park. So I included in your packet the Parkland acquisition study. There's a couple of different places where this information is available, but I'm showing you this slide because very often how much of it is eligible for impact fees, and the answer is it depends on the type of park. So if we're talking about Pleasant View Park, for example, that is a neighborhood park, it is eligible for 40%, 47% impact fees towards any development that just varies. And then trails are eligible for an even more significant amount because we haven't met demand for trails in the community, and so they're eligible for a significant amount of funding under the current comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So I talked a little bit about the comprehensive master plan or land use map. So the important things are the green areas here are either natural resource areas or parkland. So there's other designations, and how you kind of want to think about this is you want to make sure that each neighborhood is appropriately served by a recreational facility, whether it's a county facility, it is a city facility. And so this is a map of what's called the walk shed for those. So this is, I think it's a quarter-mile radius from each county park. These are essentially service areas. So Vandewald and Associates made this map as part of the Parkland acquisition study to how much of the city is served by a city park or by a regional park, a county park. So you can see there are some gaps. Most notably in the southwest portion of the city, where this circle is this mouse working. Franklin Woods, and then the acquisition that was recently made is these parcels here. You can see, so this was the future land use map. It was designated recreational, and we filled that obligation. This is land that is actually natural resource recreational. And I can provide these maps to you separately, but this is when you're thinking about like what the Corp is envisioning. This is the key map. It's available on the website. It's map 7.1 from the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. And so the parks that are being envisioned for are also here. So we actually, in addition to PR1, we have terrible definitions, but PR1, the Southwest Park, we also have the Water Tower Park, which is called something different on this drawing, but it's here. And then here, so you can see the future 116th Trail, which is envisioned to go to the county line. The trail on Lover's Lane, Ryan Road, the existing Oakleaf Trail, and the future planned Oakleaf Trail. This being a county facility, but network. And then the Ryan Creek Trail, which we did the planning process for pretty. So this is when you're thinking about like what do we have and what are we looking to do. These are the existing facilities. This is the plan. A broad overview. So I wanted to give you access to these documents as well. The Parkland Acquisition Study, I apologize, but I have completely forgotten when it was adopted. But it led to the purchase of the Southwest Park, and this commission and then the Common Council recommended the scenario in this document. So that's the work that's being kind of worked through now. So that's on page 9. This was the recommendation that the commission made. So the purchase of the large 60-acre park and then trails, the Ryan Creek Corridor. We started that planning process. The Ryan Creek Corridor. We started that planning process. And I also want to draw your attention to, where's the table? In this document is a table on page 6. No, that's not the one. Sorry, on page 8. No, that's not the one. Sorry, on page 8, there's a table of funds expiring by year. So we did some planning to account for the funds that expired in this budget year. I'm planning to account for the funds that expired in this budget year. I'm just going to note that there's a significant amount of funding that will need to be spent down. And these are impact fees based on the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan that we previously discussed. So based on the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan that we previously discussed. So they are impact fees. There's a timeline, an expiration date on those fees. They need to be spent by a certain date, or they have to be returned to the person that initially provided them, or they have to be returned to the person that initially provided them, or the property owner. I don't remember which one. So, having made the decision of scenario E, we'll be making an effort to kind of revisit this and talk through what new facilities you want to prioritize. Talk through what new facilities you want to prioritize for future budget cycles. Because this should inform the capital improvement plan. So that's kind of the Cliff's Notes of that. There was anything else I wanted to touch on. So that's just kind of the Cliff's Notes. There was a request in the 2023 budget for the planning department to revisit the comprehensive master plan and the comprehensive outdoor recreation. We did receive funding to do that in 2023. However, the allocation and the staff situation in the department doesn't allow for that. So basically, we've been without a planning manager since July of last year. We're currently in the middle of a unified development ordinance, right? So we're And we're effectively in a position where we won't be able to tackle that project at all in the immediate future. So I don't anticipate addressing the comprehensive master plan or the corp in 2023. If we are able to do it in 2024, I will say it's important to get the demography right. So when you ground it in a realistic expectation of the existing conditions on the ground, what the population looks like now, and what it's really going to grow to look like. So this is supposed to be a document that's planning for future growth in effect. And the demography, it's important to make sure that that estimate is, we'll probably need to focus on the comprehensive master plan first. So that's the status of that. But in your packet, I did provide the DNR requirements so that the document can remain compliant with their requirements. So I'm happy to answer any questions. It was as brief as I could.
As far as, it should be easy. As far as spending the funding down, some of that should be taken up when we decide for master planning park, so that should eat up some of this.
Yep.
I guess that's question one. Question two would be, know that for the new rec department, is there any way some of this money could be looped there with adding a trail in and around there that would?
So where's that parcel?
I know that the rec department and the city are two separate entities. They don't necessarily play in the same pool, but eat up a significant cost of money.
Point out to you.
Of course. You know, Glenn, it's popping back into my head about some discussion we had probably a couple of years ago now, where we were talking about a trail head possibility of going in and around there, because that could somehow loop back through to behind the senior apartments there.
Trails are the number one most heavily used parks department.
Caleb's playground holds in a good amount of people.
Yeah.
But and they also take up, what was it, 66% or something of the funding?
Right.
So it doesn't eat into the city budget quite as much as some of the other stuff there.
Yeah, so to the question about would it be possible to fund the rec department, it was designated as a city park, that would be possible, but that would require them to feed the land to the initial reaction. So I can certainly double check, but
I think there are a couple, and yeah, legally it just can't happen.
Isn't that what we were planning to? That recent purchase of on 92nd Bryan Road, going to run the trail through there. Oh, do you know?
No, they didn't tell me. No. Town council.
Oh, why?
No, I worked it out with the school. We basically had a handshake agreement and took it to common council and looked upon. We're talking about around the school property, 92nd to 80th. I can guess. You're on the council.
Political difference.
Okay.
That was beautifully said.
Okay.
That was beautifully said.
Well, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the corp?
Yeah, and just to be clear, I think the school is willing to work with.
Anybody have any questions on the corp?
Yeah, and just to be clear, I think the school is willing to work with.
I did not include in these materials the master plan
be clear, I think the school is willing to work with.
I did not include in these materials the master plan that Public Works had worked on. It's not clear to me what the future of that trail is, given Public Works had worked on. It's not clear to me what the future of that trail is, given that it's in the corp and we're requiring funds back. I know what the plan is, but these are the written policies. So this is the end frame. And there is a funding mechanism that is intended to fund that. There's only so far that goes though, because it does need to have the match from. So.
I will tell you that we were looking at church property, going through the woods, and might possibly have like a couple bridges included in that. I met, it's been a month ago, met with the parishioners Sunday between all their masses and talked to them. And the verbal comments I heard, parishioners seem to prefer the Make It Nice. I have yet to hear an official response from the church yet.
I guess we'll move back to the unfinished business. And we will go with letter A.
This month, we've replaced some broken, place structure parts. Had a couple cases of vandalism. Ernie Lake Bridge seems to be a hot spot right now. There's some graffiti on the graffiti on the bridge and parks. So I fixed all that again. So hopefully the police will keep a closer eye on that. Started our spring cleaning of the pavilions. Getting that ready. I promised the Historical Society they have to open for their field trips in mid-April, and also break hunts coming up in early April. We want to have those. One thing I did want to bring up, Pleasant View. I was there. A lot of people walking dogs at a certain time of day. 10 or 12 cars there. I can't remember what time it is, 9:30. And I talked to one of the guys, and he says a lot of people that were going to the dog park. A lot of people that were going to the dog park at the airport, they switched to going over there. And there's one old couple that have been going there for a long time, so it's not from the dog park. But they just let they have a from the dog park. But they just let they have a pretty tall dog. I don't know what it is, but they let it off the leash and it runs like crazy, and it like mugs every other dog there. And I talked to this guy that I stopped to talk to him, and he says, yeah, he knows that dog and can't control him. And I guess my point is that there's so many people that don't leashes there, and I kind of mentioned to the captain, I said it's going to be a problem sooner or later because dogs are just running all over the place. There was I don't know, 10 or 12 dogs.
I'm sure everybody's cleaning up after them, right? When they're running free out there.
That I don't. Yeah, that I don't keep track of it. But I told him. I told this guy. I said, can you let these people know? I said I don't enforce the leash law, but have a good thing here. One complaint. It's gonna all end. And so I don't know what you guys think about enforcing the leash law. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. I mean, it's just. There's people all over the place. I used to tell people, there's a leash law, but it's crazy over there.
Well, I'm sure Alice would like to walk
The guy with the
park at a
airplanes?
certain time of the day, and
They're not picking up over there very much either.
Isn't that posted on our new signs that we put in there? It's all there, so
the parks, you know, there's a group of people that use a leash at, you know, at Franklin Woods, at Keelis Playground, there's a lot more people that use, that have a leash. A lot more. At Pleasant View, it's crazy. There's a minority of people that have a leash. So,
I guess, my thought is if your time is, 2 or 3 days and makes a couple comments to people about it, it would probably.
okay. Right.
We could try, I hate using,
I think that the trail is so open there that they kind of think that that's acceptable, maybe.
It's one of those silly things you hate to expend those resources for it, but I don't know.
Well, you wouldn't want anyone to get hurt.
Well, no, you don't want anybody to get hurt.
There was one at the same time. There was an older lady walking her dog with a leash. He was a medium-sized dog. He was just mauling the dog, and then we'd go a little further, and then he'd come back and get her again, and she was like, "Come on, we gotta get," But the older couple weren't, calling him back or anything. So I felt really bad. I saw him way down on the trail, just doing the same thing. So.
And it is posted leash log, correct? It is posted. And it is posted leash log, correct? It is posted. Leash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up the leash law right now, I'm seeing no dog bearing any tag shall be permitted to stray or be taken anywhere outside the limits unless he's on a leash or temporarily for the purposes of hunting, breeding, trail, training, or competition. Just trail.
Like a
You're hunting
scent.
for a dog. You're hunting
Scent.
for a dog.
Well, it says for hunting, breeding, it's trail, training, or competition.
I think there was a county dog park that had facilities. And that's part of what.
Not necessarily. The closest I have to out a dog park. Really doesn't have rules.
And one more related thing, Karen, your I'm gonna call it a brochure, but your parks map, it says 6 foot maximum, 6 foot maximum long leash. I don't know where you got that. 6 foot maximum long leash. I don't know where you got that from. Is that our rule? Because I never heard that before I read that.
I probably read it some.
That's what the county has.
Yeah, it's like, I think
so
that's where I got that from.
That is our rule? Okay.
Want it shorter?
Well, I don't know those fully.
Want it shorter?
Well, I don't know those fully. Retractable ones, they go on quite a ways, so I didn't know.
I think if you put a 6 foot in there, that means foot, not longer.
Great. I never heard that rule before, so. Okay.
Just make a correction that I was reading the city ordinance as far as kennel owner. So for the owner of a dog, a tiny horse, or a cat, shall permit or suffer such animal to be at large. Any dog, tiny horse, or cat found at large is suffering. That's real clear as mud to me.
It is my deepest desire to be.
I feel like they could stay just be like on a leash, or under control of the owner. Bring my tiny horse.
You have pygmy horses.
We'll jump to letter B here. 2022-2023 Parks Commission request for information on personnel additions, capital outlay fund needs, equipment revolving fund needs, street improvement fund needs, and major capital expenditures to be made with borrowed funds.
In your packet, I provided the budget sheets that Alderman Hannon was kind enough to share with the group a couple of months ago. For the capital improvements plan, a couple of months ago, for the capital improvements plan, and then the operations budget pages from the adopted budget. So at this, I did not have a chance to prepare like anything for discussion for you. So at this point, this is just for. At this, I did not have a chance to prepare like anything for discussion for you. So at this point, this is just for information. But if there's specific questions that you'd like answered, I'm still waiting for the 2022 final expenditures. So I do need to follow up with. Thank you. Do final expenditures. So I do need to follow up with. Thank you for sharing. In terms of the 2023 budget calendar, I presume that that will be something that, a process that starts after the election. It could be similar to previous years, or it could be very different.
That leaves us last to letter C. Parks amenities donation policy and parks marketing materials, including maps, pamphlets, etc.
The deadline for the June newsletter is April 13th, and I will meet with Commissioner Malecki hopefully in the next week or so to make sure that we're ready to go to put in that. I have not had a chance to advance the other materials to common council. I really apologize, but the department is so I will try to move it forward, but for the map item,
Can we get it online, like on the website? Is that not possible?
it should possible.
Free, it's easy, something. Put on it.
I can check with Lisa about that. I don't know if I've done it yet, but
In the rec department, is that a deadline for that as well as?
that was not shared with me, but I can ask Leah.
I proofread your maps again, and I just have a couple questions. Maybe the Parks Commission should be involved in answering. The city on the map called City of Franklin Bike and Hiking Trail, and it's got the We Energies kind of sponsor on the bottom. And on your map, we call it St. Martin's Bike and Hiking Trail or St. Martin's Bike and Bike Trail. So do we want to call it St. Martin's?
Changed it, would you have to change the sign?
There's like 6 signs and they're all
Easy to
like,
change it on the map.
Consistent.
Whatever the sign says.
Yeah, whatever the sign
So
reads.
the sign says what? What does it say, Franklin?
City of
the
Franklin.
City of Franklin Bike and Hiking Trail. City of Franklin Bike and Hiking Trail. That's going to be the official name then? Okay.
Bike and bike trail.
Next question is the name of Legend 2 changing. So if we want to make that change on here.
I think that was going in front of the common.
Do that.
What are they changing?
Do that.
What are they changing?
Burning bar.
Memorial name.
There's still time to get that on the
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna change it on this literature then?
If they approve it.
If they approve. Okay,
So
next
it's called the
question.
Vernonbarg Memorial Park? I never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
Well,
No,
no,
I didn't either. Okay.
but it's a memorialized named park. It's a memorialized named park.
Right.
I meant when I said
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Because I thought, oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, next question.
Hang on.
The 116th Street Trail, Glenn, is that part of this same trail, the City of Franklin The Energies Trail? Glenn, is that part of this same trail, the City of Franklin The Energies Trail?
Different trail.
Okay, so that's this, you got a dotted line and that's the same trail on here. You gotta break it off somehow. Is that trail all in the way it is now? Is it trail all in the way it is now? Is it feasible? I mean, it's not really a.
No, it's just a. It's
Walk
not
it.
trail yet.
Are we gonna leave it on here anyways as a big trail? Just asking.
No, it's a good question.
It's gonna start construction this year. I don't.
No, it's a good question.
It's gonna start construction this year. I don't know how often you can update.
You can walk it, though.
We do have permission to use it as a trail.
Okay, so
You want the word bike tape? Is that what you?
I'm just bringing it up. I don't care one way or the other. But, you know, it's not real.
Bike boat trail.
Canoe launch.
Yes.
And then the next question on the Victory Creek Park that's connected to Pleasant View Park. We have dog sledding as an activity there. Do we want to promote that? Because we had a grooms the trail a couple years ago. He takes a snowmobile in there and tries to groom the dog sledding trails, and I guess he's promoting dog sledding. Not.
Are they on a leash?
What's dog sledding?
Yeah, I guess they are.
Dogs pull on the sled.
I never heard of that here.
No.
Can you get rid of that?
Park
Yes.
is that?
So take it
Yeah,
out.
I would,
Pleasant, Victory Creek.
Maybe to encourage dog sledding.
yeah.
You don't really allow other people to do their own thing with snowmobiles in city parks.
No, I was always looking. This guy packed down the trail so much. I was trying to get through it, and it was a mess.
Hey Dale, part of that Victory Creek is a conservation easement that explicitly does not allow.
Well, I know that, but
Okay.
but there's snowmobile tracks there.
I mean, you could call the police on it. We do that, but like. How do we know? Yeah.
Don't be trouble.
Dale's
So we're
dog
getting rid
sledding
of
in
dog
his spare
sledding.
time.
All right.
I mean, it could be me.
Next one, Future Park on 112th Street. You have it says public. Now, do we even want it on the map if it's not open to the?
I think we decided to change it to Future Park.
Future Park.
Felt like they knew that something was coming there, but
It's not there
open
yet.
Yeah.
So what did I say?
Undeveloped / not open to.
Park?
Yeah, it says Future Park.
Right underneath 21 and
What do you guys want us to do? That way?
Let's change it to.
I think Future Park is.
Well, it says that.
But
you're-
what's the point even having on here? I don't know.
because it's
Because it's
demonstrating
underdeveloped.
what the commission is working on
Okay,
for the future, and it'll encourage some public, maybe comments from people to
Hopefully,
help
yeah.
us plan.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Or could we just do it as a more positive, like future proposing instead of closed to the public? It's more of a positive.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah. Instead of saying you're not allowed to go there.
Yeah.
You know,
The
just a little
thought
bit.
for it was that we didn't want people wandering around there, right?
Right.
Because
Yep.
we were,
Because it's still being farmed, actually.
Right.
and
So
it's
it's
not,
not
and it's
open to the
marked as
public.
this, you know, so if somebody's just quickly going, oh, 21, what is it? We want it to be very clear that it's not open, you know?
But I do think that it, like, to your point, it's important, especially as people are maybe looking to build down in that area of the city, that they can see, you
That
know,
something's
that we are
coming there.
planning something
Right.
at some point in time.
I think
But
we
it's
should-
not.
At some point in time.
I think
But
we
it's
should
not
name
open.
it.
We're gonna name it already?
What do you want to name it?
I don't know. I'll think of something though.
I want to call it Impact Park. Because we get rid of our impact fees.
There you go.
Impact fees.
There you go. I like that. So what is it gonna be, just Future Park, or what was the final idea?
Are we just leaving it then?
Yeah, just,
Leave it as undeveloped, blah, 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 Future Park.
yeah.
Still think you should name it after.
The next one, number 22, the other Future Park. I'm not sure.
Name it after.
The next one, number 22, the other Future Park. I'm not sure what this park is. I don't think there's a park there.
Do I have it in the wrong location?
Have to be descriptive.
Well, okay, 22 is located just just north of our shop.
76.
Located just north of our shop.
76.
Isn't that the water tower one?
That was the water tower.
North of your shop.
South of it, yeah, north of the shop.
That might have been the school. Have been over. That's the one we talked about. Council.
That's a future park.
Future school.
No, that land just got sold, right?
A trailhead. It's gonna be a trailhead.
Owned by
It's
the
listed
single
as a
farm.
future park. I guess that's what I.
So it's just a future trail. I don't.
I kind of went it over pretty thoroughly today, actually. So
There is district over there.
Heard that kicked around.
The water tower park is missing because that's up near
You know
Lover's Lane,
what?
right?
I think that triangle was,
That's
we're
owned
going
by
back
the,
a long time.
it's owned by the school district.
Yeah.
And there's been discussion about the school selling or giving that to the city.
It should probably come off because
Yeah.
my understanding is they.
I know they've been shopping around. We've had a few developers ask me.
What is
That High Street? I know they've been shopping around. We've had a few developers ask me.
What is
That High Street or High?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
So- Like you,
76.
that High Street or High?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
So- Like you,
76.
there's like a dead end road.
6.
There's like a dead end road.
Yeah, so there's actually this trail map. This is like a incomplete road.
Oh, see, she just said.
Yeah, it's south of Security Acres.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So you take the southernmost road in Security Acres, take it back to the west, turn south, it kind of a dead end right.
There's a little crossing across that creek. The park commission was gonna buy that land. Goes back.
That would have been
through
before
the-
me, but I do know that that guy would love, he wanted to, back in the day when you could doze it, you could build it. The guy thought that he could put like 8 lots, but there's all kinds of,
That's borders outdoors.
It's been developed with 3 residential lots, but it's a residential corridor. This is the old drive-through. These are like really encumbered by natural resources, but this is, the school owns either this one or this one.
developers always look at it.
Were they planning on building another elementary?
I think that was the original idea. They were going
Based on that.
Okay, so we're removing that future park. Are we adding water tower park?
Let's make it 22.
Yeah. It doesn't have a name. That's not the official name.
Well, that has to go to council anyway, doesn't
Right.
it?
Yeah,
It does.
That's what everybody will
Just call it another future park.
That's what I will continue to call
Yeah.
it.
I always call it Water Tower Park.
Alright. The other thing is the Savannah Nature Preserve number 409. Went on the county website and I got this list of maps, and here they just call it Franklin Park. So it's a little inconsistent. So I don't know if you're gonna call it Franklin Park.
The county park you're talking about?
Savannah Nature.
Any brochures on it calling it that?
Yeah.
You know, they don't always update that because there's brochures.
Art/Savannah.
They refer to it as the Franklin.
That's my preferred name. Because it's not necessarily a park where you're gonna go and
I had a couple.
sit under a
typos,
tree and
but
read.
That's all
All
I
right.
had then.
And you're gonna
I
give me
like-
that then.
Yeah.
We're not naming anything ever.
I believe our next meeting date would be April 10th.
Can I just, one thing, this would be like a second. I sent Marion an email, there were just some things I went through from our meetings that I didn't know what was happening afterwards. Can we get that added to our agendas every time, something, if there's, I mean, you,
Like the,
what did I have on here? Oh, the court came back. The bounce house, there was something there about, we needed a policy. A draft, an ordinance about using pavilions without proper authorization. The buckthorn removal, all using pavilions without proper authorization. The buckthorn removal, all abilities, was that bank shots court, things like that, that they come and then I don't know how everybody else feels, but I never know what happens to this stuff. If we could just get updates on, but I never know what happens to this stuff. If we could just get updates on, just little updates, what's happening.
Because they
on
were
this.
basically just discussions, right?
They were discussions, but it was like, something was, there was no final resolution, though.
right, so with some of the items that were like,
There was no final resolution, though.
right, so with some of the items that were like facilities requests, just for group information, those get into a file that then comes back as part of the capital improvement plan budgeting process. So do you want to allocate funding? So that's kind of a broad, but it was very helpful for you to have that list because I do try to keep track of some of things, but depending on what department they're from.
Right, but even some apartment, well, here's where it is, it's with this, it's which, myself, I'm just like, well, whatever happened? And would hate something that
Yeah, so what you
somebody
did was-
came here and talked to us about,
What you did was super helpful, and I can put together a memo of
Okay.
the questions that you were asking,
Yeah.
and if there's other follow-up items that the commission has questions about. Because what Commissioner Lance did was went back through all of the past minutes, and we didn't get a report back about it. Some for good reasons, some because they did fall off our radar.
right, and it is, like, you did answer them, but you said we couldn't add it this time, so. I
Yeah, it
just
was a
thought if
little
we could-
late in the game
Yeah.
for me to get it on the agenda,
Yeah.
but I can
Right.
absolutely do that for the next meeting with the chair's consent.
And I won't be here next meeting, so somebody else will do the minute.
The 10th is also Easter Monday. I don't know if that has a significance. That's a holiday or not, I don't know.
The basket will be empty.
City Hall is open.
The basket will be empty.
City Hall is open. It's
We're even open Good Friday.
They used to give the kids off the day after Easter. I don't know what happened to that thought process.
Unless my
but-
plane gets back tonight.
Where are you going?
No, it's
I'm gonna go
not.
visit my daughter.
Tonight.
Where are you going?
No, it's
I'm gonna
not.
go visit my daughter. Where
Could
was
we have, you took a picture of that, could put that packet?
Yep.
Also that schedule that was up there for pickleball at the different parks happening. Pickleball at the different parks happening. And what about the, Buckthorn volunteer thing?
We've been discussing, the attorney made some edits and the last, I did forward it. to That guy.
We put it on the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah, I had that as one of the things here.
neighborhood or whatever. I had a form on there. I mean, it's just something, I'm just suggesting. Don't have to. Here you go.
Is that?
That's the little flyer I made.
Oh,
You wanted, kind of like, we did that one thing.
I can send it to her.
And to him too, to see if there's anything.
And you know,
that
you
might
volunteered
want to
to be
think
the
about.
neighborhood volunteer.
I know. I volunteered my husband to be the neighborhood
Oh,
volunteer.
okay.
Yep.
And could you copy my email about that?
And I did make a pickleball courts thing from what everybody talked about, kind of a schedule. You wanted to recreate it or use it.
Would we?
Things, yeah. But it's just like now things change, so it's different than having courts every day. Like here's
Oh,
just
yeah.
one day and here's all the sites.
Yeah.
But I didn't have tennis.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get them. Get the Franklin.
I don't think she understood that.
No, she didn't understand
No.
that, to do it as a co-op program and
She does all this.
like, right, because then they could see it, right.
Basically paper. Had a little bit of discussion about figuring out something a little bit more easy to share and organize. For the time being, that's about it. So, that's about it. So,
Talking about rental.
yeah, for the diamond reservations,
diamond,
it's literally just
You know, did we, we probably didn't discuss this or anything, but is it possible for like maybe in future, next year, can we, or like maybe in future, next year, can we get a staff that can handle this? So one person is basically doing the reservations, like, you know what I mean? Like
that's
someone,
something you could recommend for the budget.
like a facility person, you know, that handles all the stuff instead of just the clerk. Like a facility person, you know, that handles all the stuff instead of just the clerk kind of thing. So somebody knows what the policies are. It's like kind of crazy. It's just like someone's doing this, someone's doing that, someone's doing this, but they're all in, not.
You could make a You could make a recommendation like that for your proposal for.
Good. Does anybody else think that's something?
Well,
that we
yes,
can do?
I agree.
Because this
Online.
is like crazy.
But online, that if
Yeah,
they,
that doesn't really need a person. Website, maybe someone to manage the website.
Like, right,
You
to
just do a
manage the
sign-up
website
sheet.
gets us, yes.
Right? I mean, really easy to think.
Yes.
It's usually Parks and Rec Department.
Yes.
Right, right,
That's what the TV show.
Ideally, that's the.
right. That's what the TV show was.
and
correct.
she, the city could make money because, from the pickleball anyway.
Well, also with the pickleball, because most recreation department / parks, they charge money for this stuff, like. It's enough, I actually did the math for it,
She,
just pickleball, just their programs alone.
you think?
So I would suggest to you, when you talk about your budget, have that kind of discussion too, because that's what could,
Way them.
yeah, so if you
Right.
show an income to cover that. It's,
Right, not everything is, I mean, you go bowling, you pay. Anything you do, you pay to.
Again, I just caution you that people are expecting more man facilities.
Well, we actually are doing that. And and stuff can be, and the policies, like, we're just telling someone else to do these policies, but they haven't experienced the deal, or you can
Right now, under the organizational chart that you have, the clerk's office is, there's not like a specific. Planning, it's in DPW, it's Kevin and Glenn.
Right. And they're doing great, but it's like, if you had this one, you know, what do we do with this dog thing?
Yep.
Like, you need a sign, you sign, you put it up. Reminder, no dogs. Because it's just all different departments. You don't even know where to go to. Like, you did show it, like, okay, this is where your departments. You don't even know where to go to. Like, you did show it, like, okay, this is where you go, but are you guys talking to each other?
As much as possible.
Yeah.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Sorry, Pete.
No, no, worries.
I'll make a motion.
Adjourn.
Sorry, Pete.
No, no, worries.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic.